Welcome to JavaScript 102. In this section, we'll take a deeper dive into concepts that are more important to real-world JavaScript programming. Whether you're looking to land a job as a web developer or build a product on your own, the concepts in this section are what I personally consider most valuable for getting stuff done as a JavaScript developer. In this first section, we'll talk about objects, which again is the class that everything else inherits from, like arrays and functions. Anything that's not a primitive is an object. The typical way to define an object is with the literal syntax using braces. It contains a collection of key value pairs, which themselves can point to other objects or functions. Now, the weirdest thing about objects is prototypal inheritance, but luckily you don't have to deal with that very often in the real world, although I do want to show you how it works. Basically, one object can inherit properties and behaviors from another object through something called the prototype chain. Every object can have exactly one prototype, or when you reach the end of the prototype chain, its value is null. We can check the prototype of the current object using a static method of getPrototypeOf. I'm currently working in Node.js, so I can pull up the terminal here, use the node command, and point to the code in this file. Although you could also run this code in the browser or any other runtime for that matter. As you can see, it logs out the base object, which you can think of as its parent. Now, if we go ahead and do the same thing, but get the prototype of that prototype, you'll notice this time it logs out null. And again, that means we reach the end of the prototype chain. Now, here's why you need to know this. Let's go ahead and create another object called dog. And what we want to do is have this dog inherit the properties from the animal object. We can extend the prototype chain to make the animal a parent of the dog by using object setPrototypeOf. The implication of this is that now the dog has the DNA property even though it's not explicitly defined on its object. In addition, if we console log the prototype of the dog, you'll notice that its prototype is now the animal. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I don't want to get too into the weeds on prototypal inheritance. It's just important that you have the general idea of how it works because that could come up on interviews or in weird situations as you're building your app.